last video, we talked about loops judgment and their vectorization and how possible could the vectorization help speed up the calculation process. Now, I'm sorry for interrupting the last video for my dinner, but actually I wanted to make another section about using these for loops and judgments from some pure math problems later in another section of the video. Probably it's called exploring sequences and series with R. Now, before we go into the next section, I think it's probably better that we make a brief introduction to the thing. It's called R Markdown. Now, I think a number of you might have a few ideas about Markdown, and if you have used Python, well, actually, Markdown is it's just a concept that induced from Python to R, and a lot of people have been working on these, including RStudio, knitr, and how to integrate LaTeX file into it. So let's just do intro to R Markdown. Usually, you get something called RMD and LaTeX. That's LAT. Sorry, T. That's LaTeX and knitr. You could call it. Yeah. So those are the three things you're gonna need to write a paper with programming. Now, why do we bother doing this? Because when the code gets more complicated, it's probably not very efficient to make a lot of comments or to make a lot of let's just say lots of throw counts, lots of scripts with this. In some cases, you want to write your file and code at the same time, so that it's incorporated in the same file. You don't have to worry about where they are, which section they belong to, when to run them. So it's look like a notebook, but it's not exactly a notebook because it's not always interactive. You can decide when to run them, when not to run them, which section to run, which function not to run, and a lot of these. Okay, let's just do. If you want to use Markdown, you just go File, New, RMD file, and there is. Sorry, what's happening with this? Okay. So you have some documents you could shoot. I usually go document because I want them to be a file and that could be easily shared, and it could go from templates. Templates are just different formats of the document. I just use R package or using R Markdown templates. There are the different things to select. But anyway, let's just get this thing ready. Now, if you click on that button that doesn't turn out to be a knitr file, you probably haven't installed knitr. So the first thing, you should go so how do you do that? You could go install catch wait, actually there. And you see there's knitr, and you automatically install all the things of knitr, and also all the base package that it depends on. Just a way of being lazy. And you click on click on return or click on enter, and then just install the files for you. I'm not gonna do that because I already do that. And there's so basically to use it, there's a chunk of code to start knitr, but I don't want you to change it. In most cases, you don't have to change this one because it's loading the package. When you knit the package, click on this button and you save it to somewhere. I just save it to text so to MD knitr and LaTeX. Horrible typer. Right. There we go. Okay. Now it says it's working. And instead of getting a chunk of code, you get a file. You get a page, or this is HTML page, or you could do other things. Like you could go knit to PDF, knit to Word, and lots of customization with it. And the codes could be our code, but also you could use different codes whenever you need it. So just very convenient way of doing it. I know a lot of people use MATLAB or Mathematica or Maple to take notes from math, statistics. knitr is could be used to take notes while you're learning coding, or you explore new things, or you're writing a new manual, or you're writing a paper. It just keeps things tidier so that you don't have to worry about format. But in terms of format, there's still something that we should always be careful about. When you click on this button, you basically get a title, author, and this is, if I don't want this format, I want that in different order. That'll work. If you change the title, that will also change. But what you see, these blue colored elements are just recognized by the package for you to generate something. So let's just start with title and section. So this is to and section. Right, there we go. So when you preview this file, it's creating title and subtitle. They use you have to type this 2 times, so you have 1.1, for example, subtitle. And You could even go, so whatever. Alright, and what's important, it's just like a PDF. It is actually it's actually tidying up the format here. So if I do want to do something here, I go let's say this is subtitle. Actually, we could show that later. And you click on that, automatically direct you to that. You click on that, it directs you to this. So it's just like a PDF index. It's relating each element to its own section, and there's nothing fancy about it. Right. So code section. 1.2. Actually, it's called code chunk. Is that how to spell it? Right. So each code chunk, you gotta start with 3. This is on the top left side of your keyboard. If you're doing R code, you type R something. Now there's you could just go some command like summary iris or plot iris. You could choose that. You could choose to do that, and if you click on this little play button, not surprisingly, you're gonna run this code, and it's gonna return with you text output and plot output. Now, if I knit this file, so code, we're gonna make it code-like, and output in the very tidy format, also plot output, and you could open that in browser. I'm using Firefox. Where is it? Yeah, you could save it, but usually when you're knitting the file, it automatically save the same directory. Now it's probably a little bit of, yeah, here we go. There's the HTML. See, if I knit it to PDF, it's working. Yep. And usually it lets you to view this PDF. You don't have to save the file now, because there we go. There's where it automatically saved for you. And some troublesome thing is that R Markdown is always trying to do your sizing of the plot, whatever it is. So it might seem to be distorted. If I go aspect, I just go aspect is 1 and redo that. And as you see, you got the data in the same aspect, but this ratio is not necessarily 1 to 1. But usually it doesn't matter, but sometimes you do have to make some customization with that. So what if I go iris, we got something, there's another plot, so it's opening 3 windows. So yeah, and sometimes the resolutions turn out to be difficult, but usually that's not a problem. Okay, there's a code chunk, and you could customize it by doing R, comma, and there's some options you could do with. Now, uh, from this code chunk, if it has chunk 1 set up, you could name that chunk. For example, just name iris demonstration. So there's a code chunk. And this include, if I go, it's usually just include is true. If I go include is false, then I run all the codes. But when you generate a file, it's not gonna output the plot to you. See? So if you want to run this code, for example, you want to load some packages, but you don't want the audience to see them, you could go include is false, or you could go echo is false. Yeah, I'll see what it is. Yep. So it's hiding the code, but still giving you the plot output. Well, actually, what happens here? So sometimes in the template, it's not a very good example. To avoid this, you could go layout, just go layout. Oh, actually, the easiest way to do this is probably just break down to 2 parts. So let's just do this. No problem with that. But you're gonna start with chunk 3. Alright. And still see what it's doing. So in the text files, when you are typing those letters, or you want to separate these plots, usually with ggplot, that's not a problem. But when you go use the LaTeX or use the based plotting packages, it sometimes corrupts it, but it's not a big problem. You could always solve it whenever. Use whatever you could use. I don't know what is the easiest way of, probably Pargo MF row or FM column. So you could generate multiple plots in one panel. Good. Now title and section. Second thing is your oh, actually there's echo is false. You could do other things with. For example, now let's just generate histogram with ggplot. Ggplot. When I say ggplot, it's actually now it's ggplot 2. Most people use it. Some people still want to use ggplot, the original version, but it's in the official. It's in the official CRAN. I'm not sure about that. So you go library, ggplot, and what's important about this? You could go message. You could hide the message. So whenever you wanna qplot, let's just do a density or histogram. Okay. My data is iris, and the data is my xlab is gonna be wait, what's the name of it? Pedal length. Hope you're familiar with this. I want to go geom is density. Can do that? No, actually, histogram. Now, qplot is just the abbreviation of quick. I think it's quick plot. ggplot, the 2G stands for grammar of graphics. It's a book published in 1985, I believe, which is called Grammar of Graphics, about data visualization. It states that the visualization consists of some parts. One is the aesthetics of the or aspects of the data. Your x is something, y is something, and then you start to add layers on the plot. You could go, its density, its histogram, its smooth. You could smooth it using different methods like linear model, logistic model, lots of different models. But anyway, that's another story. If you go message is false, it's not gonna return any message to you. But if I delete that, or I could go message is true. What we usually get is step bin using bins equals to 30. Pick better value with big ones. It's actually a good thing to have message going here, but it's reminding you to adjust the bin width. It's probably gonna give you a better visualization or let the plot to be less misleading, because it could be misleading sometimes. But if you want to generate file and you think the default value is fine, you usually don't want to leave a message here. And here's the point. So I go. So I still hide a message. Probably not a good idea. So see, 1.2. Let's just do a little bit of revision. And if I don't want to go to second section, I click on that. Yeah. Cool. And second thing I want to do is the text format. You could go plain text, or you could just type whatever here, whatever. But when you want to start a new line. Simply use return or simply use enter here does not work, and I then type space 2 times. Actually, type space 2 times instead. Well, let's just run this document and see how it goes. Now, in your text editor, or just thinking about the text editor in our studio here, this seems to be a single paragraph. These two seem to be different paragraphs, but in knitr, if you simply click on enter here, it doesn't change anything. But if you type 2 times space, it's gonna start a new line for you. It's just kind of convention, but you could go 2 times space and then enter, and it's still gonna give you a new line. There's absolutely no problem with that. Kind of strange way. Yeah. See. Alright, so let's just now I go 2.2 tables. Now table, you could just make it table like this. See what I have, and it doesn't have to be in the same number. And you could go. Actually, I could go preview here, but I'm just running the code. Alright, let's see if I use. It's gonna happen. Need to HTML. So the default format of knitr is to use HTML. Oh, it doesn't work. Shouldn't turn out to be like that. But anyway, probably I used a different template. Right. Alright. No. And if you want to, alright, there's at least this is going to be feasible for your table. So see, you got the first point here, but I should do the same thing with plain text. You end the line with two spaces, right? And table, and you should go space minus space, and if I don't type 2 spaces here and I just go table, and it doesn't turn out nicely. Yeah, well, it does. Did I use the space? No, I didn't. Okay, if I put return here and click on knit, now it's generating a new line. You see, there's a very strange thing, and you see this text format. It's if you don't type two spaces at the end of the previous line, it's gonna append this words uh, into the bottom of that. So let's go return, or I could go if there's some time. Actually, it's better to do start with a new line because you get a graph that plot of put on top of that. Yeah. So we get. So now we get it corrected. Uh, so here we get text format, plain text tables, and there's only one more thing, or you could do a lot more things than that. But at least I think what is encode LaTeX, and this is pretty awesome with R because just like you're writing a paper in LaTeX, you could go and click on return, yeah, and you could sometimes you could go use 4 of these and go v is fraction. If you haven't learned LaTeX, this is how they represent fractions. V is dp dt. Where you go? Right, like this. So del p. It's better to leave a space here so you recognize it. Del t. And then where did I put the tables? Okay. Let's just put it there. Right. Now a is now it's pretty much they're in the same form of mathematic mathematic expressions. You could go something this like this, and it sometimes doesn't work with PDF file, but alright, is it working? Or is it 3 of them? Oh no, it's just 2 of them. Wait, it's just 2 of them. Alright, it does turn out nicely here, but doesn't always work the extra when you knit it. You could go separate this with some other things, but when you're using LaTeX, either you go this way or you go this way. Both is fine. Both is pretty fine. Yeah. And also, because it's not really LaTeX, I know sometimes LaTeX reacts quite slow. This is sometimes faster than using LaTeX, not because of the speed of generating the format of expression, but because you don't have to insert these pictures in it. Right. So So this is 2.3 instead of 3.3. Now, you could easily tell what's going wrong here because it doesn't turn out there. So you should start a new line. Something going wrong with this headphone, I think. What's going wrong with that? Okay. Now, let's start. Alright. That's nice, isn't it? But, I mean, you can't always avoid inserting image for that. So when you're inserting image, there's an image caption. It's just figure 1, figure 2, and put the workspace. And I know sometimes when you're using Mac, you don't get this problem when you're using Windows. You could usually set your working directory to source file location. And if you want to see where is your workspace, you can always go get workspace, and this is your workspace. And you could append the file name after this, and usually, well, actually it's not here. You should go put it there, right? And image, for example, I would just use, what do I want to use? Let's just find something. Alright, let me just quickly. Yeah, there's one. Oh, now. Okay, I've pasted here. Here's the name of it. Dot png. Nice. Image. Up, top. No. Workspace. Alright. Put a bracket. Yep. Okay, when the line appears there, it means it recognizes the format. So if your PNG file, put .png here. So you need full name, including the type of the image here, and you can't see it very clearly there, but when you knit it, it automatically fits the size of the page. There is no problem with that. Cool. And so this so far for knitr, LaTeX, and R Markdown. Hope you understand them, and that's probably gonna give a higher efficiency, or just encourage people to be lazy to some extent.